Hi guys, welcome back to Relocating. I don't know if I should say welcome back, but it's been a long time and I'm excited to be here. And I have a special guest with me today. I'm not going to introduce him, so he will introduce himself. But before he talks, right, he's my friend, he's my brother, he's my pastor. He's all of that. So I would let him do the honors of introducing himself and we'll get right into the topic of today. So please, sir, kind sir, can you tell us about yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Joshua David. Well, I'm many things to many people. So first, I'm a musician. I teach music. I'm a musicologist. I do research, music, social life, and practice, performance practice of music in Nigeria, popular music, classical music, and I've been doing this for over a decade now. So, and yeah, I'm a believer, son of God. Yeah, that's like multiple sides, but that those two things sort of encapsulate the many things that I do.
Okay. I thought you were going to mention, but don't worry, I'll be the one to cue you into it. So the major reason why Joshua is here right now is because we want to talk about something that has been in the air for quite a while now, and it seems to not be going away. It doesn't even seem like something that will be leaving, and that's the Japa Wave, right? I'll give a little backstory, my own POV, right, to this Japa thing. So the whole Japa Wave didn't really hit me until 2021, right? I had heard of how people were traveling and everything, but I didn't really care about it. I'm like, okay, everybody's looking for greener pasture, right? But it didn't hit home until 2021 when when Joshua David and his family said they were traveling. I'm like, wait first, okay, what's going on? I thought we were supposed to do this life together, until Jesus comes. Like, why are you guys leaving me, right? And so yeah, I've already given you guys this, that he just came to Nigeria and I seized this opportunity to talk to him. So my next question would be, I don't want to say Japa for you because I know Japa means like running away,
yeah.
Right? So it's not running away for everybody, and I definitely know it's not running away for you. But and from the time that let me start this way. What was it like planning, to leave the country? What were the things that happened, that led to you taking that decision for you and your family?
So, first off, this would take me to make me have to say a few other things about what I do. So, like I said, I've been practicing in the music industry, most especially classical music, and then in the educational sector of music for over a decade now. And so, at the time that we started thinking of leaving Nigeria, I wasn't leaving because, quote unquote, I was looking for greener pastures. Yes, the environment of working outside the country is a better environment, better resources. The work that you want to do, you might be able to do better there. In terms of maybe global reach for certain things. So yes, the environment sort of aids your thought and aids your practice. That's inevitable. It's undisputable. But then again, for me and my family and my practice, I had established by the time we started thinking of leaving, I had established, or myself and my wife, because we function in the same sector, we had established a network of clients, of people around us, of sort of we've built, if you like, a mini industry for ourselves. Okay, so we were not leaving because we didn't have jobs, we didn't have clients, we didn't have. I remember we got married, and the week after we got married, we were in a production that we were doing together. We got married on Saturday. Thanksgiving on Sunday, and then Monday we were at a rehearsal
Straight to
together, straight to work, because we had work,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So it wasn't like we were, oh, there's nothing else for us to do, we're just leaving, you know. But then again, looking to expand certain things, looking beyond what we had in the immediate, and thinking about the future, and thinking of how some of the plans that we had would unfold over time. We knew that we needed to gather certain skills, build certain other networks beyond what we had done here. All right, and again, we're believers, so all of that process is first a spiritual process and a spiritual conviction as to the timing of what we needed to do, you know, where we would be going, and you know, what we'll be doing there. So leaving for me was not because I didn't have anything doing here.
Yeah.
I mean, I one of the things I was doing here is that I was teaching at the University of Lagos. I was a lecturer at Danago. So I was lecturing at the University of Lagos already. So I had a job, what people would say, oh, job security, like a federal government job and all of that. No matter what anybody says about, you know, lecturing job and all of that, I had a job that was quote unquote for life, you know. So I didn't leave because I didn't have anything doing, or I was running away from something, or oh, it's not everything is, oh, it's as if something was chasing, you know, this wave, like you said, Japa is running away. I wasn't running away, you know. I could have stayed back and planned certain things and even moved, you know, beyond what I was doing then. But for us, it was that we were looking at certain things that were coming at us as a family, as you know, for our careers, and we knew that we needed to make certain moves now that would even help us to do bigger things that we're dreaming about. And those resources were not available, or are still not available here at this time. And we needed to get those resources, get the skills, you know, get the technical know-how, meet certain people, expand our reach, you know, at a level, you know, for the type of things we intend, we're planning. You know, so that was some of the things that sort of engendered that move.
Okay, so I really like what you said, and when you were talking, you talked about the fact that every of your decisions, right, were not just decisions you guys just woke up and made. You had convictions about it, right? And that's what this video is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about the believer's response to this, you know, Japa Wave. And I know that there are lots of believers out there who are totally confused because, to be very honest, right, things are not exactly the way we want them to be, especially in Nigeria right now. And so everybody is looking for a softer life. Everybody is looking for. So what would you say to believers out there, people who are watching this, people who will watch this, and you know, they are that crossroad. They want to. It's not like they had a bad life over here, but they know that they can be more. And they know deep down that God is not calling them to move right now, but they want better for themselves. What advice do you have for those kinds of people?
Okay, so first things first. I think as believers, we need to create a foundational basis for certain things. God is not a taskmaster. God is not. There's particular law enforcement agency that I would usually use, but I'll say it in a nice way. God is not a law enforcement agency waiting at the end of the mistake to scold you for it. God is, through His Spirit, He wants to guide you through the path of life, and not let Him just do whatever He wants to do. Then at the end, says, "Oh, you've done it now. Now I'm going to punish you for it." No. So God is not waiting at the end to punish you. He wants to walk through that journey with you. Look at one very instructive part of scripture for me is 1 Kings, where God said to Elijah that go to a particular place. I have commanded the book chariot. I've commanded a raven to feed you there. The functional word is there. There is a there for every person part time, and that's one of the most important things that we must know. Now, most of the time also, the will of man is involved in these things. There can be a there for you, and you can decide that you don't want to go there. So if the there for you in the season of your life is Nigeria, there are people who are in this country and are doing well.
Ballers, yes.
So we can't all say, oh,
it's not working.
It's not working. It's there are obvious challenges, very obvious challenges that needs to be fixed. Yes, but also we must understand, like I said, there is a there for certain people at certain times. So anybody who wants to leave the country right now, I think I can do more, I can be more. Yes, that's okay. The question there is, first of all, are you a believer? If you're not a believer, you would
need to start somewhere else.
You need to start somewhere else. But if you're a believer, the most important part of that journey is that God is carried along in the decision making. Like I said, God is not a taskmaster. He's not after you to make the mistake and then scold you for it. He wants to be part of the process of that decision making. And in making him the most important factor, we have to acknowledge him. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge. So we must first acknowledge that he is the author and finisher of what we call our faith. He is the obvious go-to person for decision making. So that's the first thing. Then the next thing is that place that you think you want to go to, is that you're there for this season. Traveling, leaving the country is not a one-off thing.
Yeah.
Some people leave when they're young, some people leave in their 30s, some people leave in their 40s, depending on how, some people say how life happens to them, but I don't think as believers we should just say how life happens to us.
Yeah.
Right? So it is given to us to be led by the Spirit of God. Right? It is given to us. And that's exactly what that scripture that says those who are the sons of God are led of God. So that it's not as if leading is supposed to come after, right? Because you are a son, you are of a necessity led. So because you are a son, so and that's the thing, we must engage that part of allowing God lead us in those decision making process before you even arrive at where I want to go to, what I want to do. Do I want to go there as a student? Do I want to go there as as PR? Do I want to go there? Those little decisions could be either mistakes or missteps that will take years to fix if we don't get it right.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that the illusion is that once you hear so and so person is earning this amount, X amount of $1,000 per year, the instinct is to convert that to Naira and to be like, my God, oh, this guy is earning this and that and that. Which to a very large extent, yes, might be true. They might be earning that much and they are balling that much. But don't forget that's a different environment from Nigeria. It comes with its own unique set of challenges. Trust me, unique set of challenges. So another thing is that there are lots of things that Nigerians or people think that they are ready for when they travel that they're not ready for. Remember, back to that story. It for the journey is far. So there are certain things that sometimes we just jump headlong into. Well, the journey is far. And then we land there and the next question is, where do I even start from? All of those things need time, planning, and the proper leading of the Spirit of God to make those decisions. They're not things that you just jump into. You just stand up tomorrow and say, the next thing to do is I want to apply for PR, I want to go to school in the UK, I want to do. They're good decisions. They're not bad. Alright? And then another thing is, sometimes people say, oh, the next question would then be, from all of this would be, then how do I know that God is actually leading me to do this at this time?
Yeah.
See, the man has a mind. We have a soul. That soul is made up of emotions, our thinking, our reasoning, all of those things. Those things are not extant from God, right? So for example, if you have a passion to do something, if for some reason it just keeps coming to your mind that you need to, maybe we need to move, if you begin to pray about that thing consistently and probe it, if it's the will of God, that passion would only get stronger. But if it is not the will of God, then that passion will die. And this must be done in sincerity. It's not that, oh, okay, it's not that you go praying that God should do it. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You know that two different things. So you don't go to the place of prayer with that, oh God, I want to travel, oh God, oh yeah, come and do it. No.
You're ready to submit
exactly.
your will.
You go there, you go to the place of prayer with the intent that I don't even know whether this is the right thing for me to do at this point or not. But what I know is that I have this nudging, I'm thinking of these things, I'm seeing these opportunities. Every time I scroll past these opportunities, I just see these things, they catch my attention. Father, I don't know what to do. I need guidance, I need direction. That's how to go to the place of prayer. It's not, oh Lord, I've collected PR form now. This is it. I want to go and write IELTS, I must pass. Father, Lord. If we go like that, then we miss the first step. Yeah. The devil has us where he would want us to be, which is half truth. Because people would then say, but I asked God. How did you ask? Did you go with a finished product to say, yeah, come and bless this product? Or did you say, what would you even have me do in the first place? So yes, I have this idea, I'm thinking of these things. This is, you can sit down to decide you want to plan your life for the next 10 years. That's okay, it's not a bad thing to do. But in that process of planning, God, this is, I'm not even sure what to do. What would you have me do at this time? That's the heart that I think we have to go with. Go to the place of prayer with, not go there with a finished product and the totally packaged thing and like, God, okay, this is the next move, stamp it.
Wow, so I like, there's something that I will just summarize as you were talking about, just summarize it, and it's just sincerity of heart. Right, which is something that even outside of this Japa topic right now, when it comes to the whole concept of prayer, right? Sometimes I think about it, I'm like, so when we come to the place of prayer and we're not being sincere, like, how does God even look at us? Because this is the all-knowing God, right? So this is somebody who knows what is in your heart, and you're coming and you're lying, right? I think that many believers have not, and many of us, let me put it that way, have not come into that place of, total sincerity. And this is even outside of Japa now, in our daily lives, when maybe you are catching feelings for a guy, or there's this job that you feel like the job with the lesser pay is the one you should take, but then there's another offer that has and then you're coming to God like, God, that this 600k job is the one that, so I'm going outside of Japan now. How does a believer come to that place of sincerity with God and with themselves?
I think the first thing it goes back again to one of the things that I said earlier. But we must believe first that God loves us. It's a fundamental thing. I was saying to somebody recently that principle seems to a very large extent, it seems to be lacking a lot in the doctrinal foundation of many Christians. That God is a father that actually loves. So, like I said, he's not a law enforcement agent waiting at the end to punish you. He wants to be part of the process. So God is the one who will stay at that one-way turning to say, this is one way, don't go there. This is the route you're supposed to go through. Not wait at the end of the one way when you have made a mistake to say, come and pay a fine. Do you understand? Yeah. So it is first to know that when I go to God, like you said, he's all-knowing. So he already knows, even before we ask, he knows. So first we must, it's something that must take conscious effort, daily affirming it to ourselves that I am loved of God, I am beloved of God. God is interested in my journey. I'm sure lots of leaders have heard this before, that if any one of us were the only person on earth, Jesus would still have come to die. So it's that much. He loves us that much. That's the foundational basis. And I think we can keep stretching that to several different things. But that's the first thing that we must learn. The next thing is that to come with sincerity of heart is to believe that he understands how we feel. Scripture says in the book of Hebrews that we do not have a high priest that is not touched with our feeling of infirmities. We must believe that to the letter. We must believe that God understands what we're going through, and so he wants the best for us at a particular time. I think that a lot of times what we have done is that we've created a dichotomy. We've sort of created a line between what we call our physical life and our spiritual life, quote unquote. So we say, this is a career decision.
Separate it from
your that one is church. For all that church something. Okay, I don't hear. I'll go to church, but this is my career. I have to plan my career. I have to do. As believers, we have one life, a life that is not ours, a life that was given to us, a life that was paid for, right? A life that was paid for. So that life belongs to somebody who knows the terms and conditions for that life to function optimally. It is these things crystallizing in our, in our thought patterns, in our processes, and trust me, these things take time. It might seem like just a bunch of words talking about it right now, but they take time to really for us to really understand these things. They take time for us to keep thinking, because life would come with everybody's life would come with, or everybody's journey would come with its own unique set of challenges.
Yeah.
These things will manifest in different places at different times for different people, and that's the thing. So we must understand these things, and then when we go to the place of prayer, that sincerity would come from, I know this person I'm talking to loves me.
Yeah.
I know this person has my best interest at heart. I know this person is even the only one that can have my best interest at heart, more than anybody else on the earth that would ever exist, even in the heavens, right? So if that is the person I'm going to speak with, then I cannot have any inhibitions.
Yeah.
So you understand? Do you see now why I said it's not just something we just say, oh, I have to go to God sincerely. No, it's something that must come from understanding of certain things, that until we come to that place of understanding, we would always go to God with certain inhibitions, and those inhibitions would continually cloud our judgment. It happens not just with Japa, it happens with several things, relationship, different things, because we already have certain thoughts, certain patterns, somebody we've bonded with, somebody we already like, a place we've already scrolled on Instagram so much so that we've built, we've built this sort of idea in our heads. When I get there, I'm going to get a tech job, I'm going to do project management certification, cyber security, this one, that one. Before I know it, okay, I'm earning 70K, my next job, 6 figures straight. By 2025, I'll be senior manager, something. But
and if all of that doesn't happen, it just feels like this God doesn't love you.
Exactly.
That's the end.
Meanwhile, the question is, before you created all of these things, did you go to this person
that has the blueprint of your life,
that knows everything? Did you go to say, okay, and sometimes I feel like we Christians, believers, we behave as if our Father is wicked. I'm serious. Sometimes I sit down and I think about these things. I'm like, Christian, sometimes we behave as if we have a wicked father. That's why I use the example of that law enforcement thing. As if this guy is just some guy up there doling out instructions, who doesn't really care or doesn't really understand what's going on. It's even almost like what we think, like we're talking about Nigeria now, like the way our leaders are. They're just up there, just doling out instructions. They don't know what's going on the streets, quote and unquote. That's how we think that God is. Sometimes in our reactions. So we're like, this guy just up there. If I go and pray now, somebody will now say, hey, don't go where. This one in Nigeria is saying, right? Meanwhile, there are people who are in this Nigeria making investments and they're living well.
Cashing out,
And I'm not just saying doing wrong things. I'm saying living on the will of God. It's not even legit. I'm not even talking about legitimacy or not. I'm saying that people who are actually listening to the will of God and making decisions based on the will of God, and not just economic permutation or stock is the next big thing. Or for his forex now, or his Binance now, or no. I'm not even saying just calculating with your mind. I'm saying making decisions based on the leading of the Spirit and are living well. All right. Another thing is, maybe we can talk about this later, but another thing is we need to also always question ourselves when we go to the place of prayer. What am I going to look for? What is my expected answer? Have I created an answer in myself?
In my head, yeah.
In my head, in my mind before I approach God. So until we go over these things, ask ourselves, number one, know that God always loves you. He has loved you even before you loved yourself. Know that He's not a taskmaster. He's not trying to use you to achieve something. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean by it? He's not trying to use you to achieve something. Yes. So, and after that, then you know that He has your best interest at heart. He's the only one that will ever. And so when we go, knowing that He knows all of this and He is all of this in Himself implicitly, that is how we can then approach God to say, I mean, there's nothing else I'd rather do in myself. I can't do in myself except to surrender all of this to You.
Wow. Okay, so as you were talking, right, we've already mentioned it in conversation. I'm just expanding all of this.
Yes,
it goes beyond Japa, really. It goes beyond this particular topic. It enters into several things. But for the sake of this video, rather, I would bring it back, right, to Japa. And I think my last question now would be for the believer who is over there and feels like, okay, I don't make mistake. I don't think I should be here, right? And this person is of a repentant heart, right? The person, and he or she is trying to retrace, what steps would you advise such person to take? Okay,
again, God is a rewarder of those who diligently seek Him.
Yes.
Right. So the sincerity and diligence of heart to go and say, okay, Father, I didn't ask. I didn't ask. I should have asked. And I'm here. I've done this thing in my own way. Like I said, God always knows how to reroute a person's journey regardless of where they are. And we've seen examples throughout Scripture. Look at the life of Elisha. We've seen examples throughout Scripture. Look at the life of Samson. As drastic as we might even think the changes that he made were, God always has a way of rerouting a person back to where it might take time. Yeah. Yes, obviously, because we live in time. So it might in God's reality, it is something that you have come. There is no distance between the time you left or the time you made your own decision and the time you came back. All right, but because we live in time, the experiences of God in eternity would require time to unfold here, okay, in our own existence. So it might require time for the person to come back and get to the point where God would have him be. And don't forget that everywhere a believer is, no matter where a believer is, the assignment for all of us as believers is the same thing. Right? We don't have, in my opinion, and I've said this a couple of times, we don't have different purposes all over the place, right? So the experience of the believer, wherever we find ourselves, remain the same. So if a person missed an assignment he was supposed to do in Nigeria, or a time or season of his life in Nigeria, or wherever the person is, I know that with the sincerity of our hearts, God is able and willing to always help or bring the person back to realignment, to alignment with what God's purpose for that place, or what plan, or what assignment, or whatever it is. It might be something else in that region. It might be that God would even orchestrate the person's path back to Nigeria. It might be that God would, there are several ways that these things can happen. But I know that there is never a mistake that is, lifelong, that's it, that's the end, there's no. Then it negates the concept of God in terms of His grace and His loving kindness. Okay? Yes. Slow to anger, plenteous in mercy. There's always a second, third, fifth, and endless chance for anybody who is humble enough and diligent enough to go back to seek God's face wherever the person might be in the person's journey. And that's a principle that we must understand. So, knowing that, I would say that anybody who feels like they have made a mistake right now, whether they're here, whether they're there, whether they're anywhere, because it could also be a mistake staying here. Do you understand? It could be a mistake going there. It could also be a mistake staying here. There are people who are there who are out of plan. People who are here who are out of plan. So it's not about where you are. It's that at the time that you are where you are you in the plan? So, depending on wherever anybody is, it is the humility. The humility. Back to what we were saying earlier. It's in my opinion, it's pride not to ask. It's pride not to ask. It's pride to think that we can, of our own selves, figure an aspect of our lives out, and maybe the other aspect we God. It's something that we need to repent of, and come to God in sincerity to say that I didn't ask, I should have asked. Okay, so, and God is able and willing to always reroute. Yeah.
I know I already said last question, but I have one more question.
Yeah.
And this one is for people who have traveled out, right? I see this question a lot online and everything. So how, and I want you to be as personal as you can be, right? So how do you maintain your devotion, especially when you move out to that kind of environment? I know we're just talking about Halloween some minutes ago. So how do you maintain your devotion in those kinds of areas?
The word maintain, I'll start from there. The word maintain suggests that you had a devotion with God.
In the first place,
So that's the first thing. The first thing is to, before you leave, have devotion. You see, the assumption is that, life is going to get easier there. My work will be easier because maybe I get a remote job or something like that. I have more time. I can even say abroad more. I'm not in traffic. I'm not in income. But no, like I said earlier, those environments, wherever you may be, you want to go to Canada, US, UK, wherever, the environments come with their own unique set of challenges. Okay, anybody that's traveled will experience all these things. But again, there's a level of intentionality that is required, and that intentionality doesn't start when you leave. It starts now, here. If you did not have a prayer life in Nigeria, you would not have a prayer life in Canada. If you did not have a prayer life in Nigeria, you would not have a prayer life in the UK.
It's not going to automatically jump on you.
No. And that's the thing. You see, it is the same process of having a prayer life in Nigeria that it would take for anybody to have a prayer life wherever they go.
Yeah.
It is the intentionality of that time, putting time and effort into it, to have a devotional life here, to have proper devotion, to plan yourself, to make sure that you have a community of friends that even if you've not prayed, you can say, oh, hello, somebody, guy, hey, babe, something is happening, please, let's agree, I think that I've not been praying enough, can we do something? It's very important. You see, even before we go to the point of community, there's a level of personal effort that must be put in first. That personal effort must work. Because whether you like it or not, the places that we're talking about are not places where religiosity is held so high. Spirituality is, which in itself is becoming a rather broad concept right now. People think that religiosity is spirituality. No, they're two different things. Religiosity does not necessarily have to be a spiritual activity. All right. Which is why there are Jews right now who do not believe in the person of Jesus. But if you look at them in terms of what they have considered the culture of the Jews, they are one of the most religious people on the face of the earth. But there's a level of spirituality that Christians carry that they do not have, because there is an aspect of that they do not believe. There's a pivotal part of it that they've left out. And so a lot of the things that we're talking about to them is their custom. It's their tradition. It's like saying a rabbi will prostrate to greet. That in itself. Exactly. So until we understand that there is a level of cultivation and building that we must do, wherever you are, even in Nigeria, those things must start. We can't. It's not fluke. It doesn't just happen overnight. You don't just wake up one day and have a devotional life. No, that environment will question. It will question almost everything you hold dear, especially for Christians. Almost everything you hold dear. I was going through popular streets in Toronto, and you see a set of people preaching the gospel. You see people standing right beside them, shouting at them, screaming at them, using the F word, being vulgar. Like screaming at their faces. I don't care, whatever you. In Nigeria, you would say that, oh, people should even respect God. At least respect God and don't. They don't. You have exactly. We have a concept of God and the spiritual and something here. You're in an environment where some of those things have been eroded many centuries ago, and they've been constantly eroded in the university system, in everything, in cultural life, in social life. Like I said, my work makes me do lots of research around, society, what kind of music is happening, what kind of cultural life is happening at particular places. So I can tell you categorically that there has been a systematic erosion of everything Christian. And it didn't, for them, for this community, it did not just happen, oh, they just woke up one day and they were no longer. No, it's systematic. There are professors whose entire career are based on these things. So it's not because they just woke up one morning and they were like, oh, nobody does this anymore, nobody does that. No. It is that their children over the last 100 years, certain things have been pumped into them. Certain philosophies have become the norm in their society. Their law has taken a turn. The legal system has taken a turn. The judiciary has taken a turn. There are certain things that society expects of you to just be a normal human being, for you to be considered a normal human being. So for you to function in that environment, for you to work in that environment, for everybody who wants to earn 6 figures, it's good. But for you to work in that environment, there are certain expectations you must, expectations they have of you, certain assumptions they have of you. So if you say things like, for example, you said I should make an example. So for example, I was in Europe for work about a month ago, or like 6 weeks ago, and I was on a table with a couple of other people, big guys in academia all over the world, and then something about drinking came up and all of that, and I said I don't drink, and we got to the point where we started talking about being Christians and all of that, and you need to see the reaction on their faces. It's like, oh, you do that? Do you know something? Like Christianity is a thing.
It's one thing.
Like,
yeah.
I'm serious. The guy said, oh, you do that? That conversation led into other things, an attempt to witness to him, and all of several other things happened. But that's the kind of culture that we're talking about. So, certain places that you want to be, the thought is,
so odd.
Like,
so
what? Christian? Okay.
Is that still a thing?
Yeah, exactly. Is that still a thing? Is that still something that people? Thank you. That's the word. So that encapsulates it. Is that still a thing? So you need to build that devotion from here, because when you get there, it won't just appear. And thank God that there are several churches that are springing up right now that can help, and that brings us back to community. We must intentionally build a community of Christians wherever we find ourselves. And trust me, there are people that you don't know. So, like say, oh, I'm the only prophet, and God said, keep quiet. I have 7,000 others.
Yeah.
All right. So we cannot also go there saying, oh, I'm the only fervent one. There are several other people who are devotional, who understand these things and are trying to keep God as their all and all. All right. So I think that we must find that community and raise our children in that community, and understand that, again, iron will sharpen iron, and we will keep living like that, until the kingdoms of this world become the kingdoms of our God.
Okay, so I'll start and go back. Right?
Yeah.
So if you find, for anyone who finds themselves in that situation, right, you're abroad and you find it hard to pray, find a community, right, of believers. I believe that you can catch the fire. I think that's one very sure way to catch the fire. If you're constantly surrounded by people who are already on fire, in little or no time, you will also catch the fire. So for this video, I'm going to cut this video into two.
Okay.
Right. So for this video, I will be saying bye right now because even me, I need to go and digest what I've heard. But thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you for watching this video. And yes, Mr. David and his wife, they have a media outfit, a Christian media outfit called Light Up Media Nigeria. I'm going to put the link to their Instagram page in the description box, so please be sure to follow the page. They put up very edifying content from time to time, trying to talk to God's people. And in December, they're going to be having The Man Called Jesus. This is the 3rd year, right? This will be the 3rd year. So every Christmas season, we remind ourselves of who the man called Jesus is and why we're even celebrating him in the first place. So thank you guys for watching this video, and you'll see me in another video very soon by God's grace.